Thank you for joining us this week on this episode of Phenomenal Whitetails. I want to talk about scrapes. As a hunter, we come across scrapes pretty much during the whole season. Most of the time during the rut is when deer will be using scrapes to mark their territories, basically to scent check for does, especially with a big dominant buck. But deer will use scrapes throughout the whole season, throughout the whole year, and they'll just basically mark their territory. They'll pee in it. They'll do whatever they gotta do in it to scent check for doe, scent check for other deer. But I want to talk about one thing specific. We're gonna be talking a lot more about a scrape in a minute. I got a scrape right here on the ground that a deer has made that wasn't here a few days ago, and I just want to talk about one thing specific real quick, is urination. As a hunter, a lot of times people say don't never urinate on a scrape. It will spook the deer out of that area for good, or that deer will not come back and use the scrape. Some people might argue that if you urinate on a scrape, it's good. Deer's gonna come, scent for it. They're gonna come smell it. They're gonna come do what they gotta do. They're gonna think it's a doe. But nobody ever gets, to me, I don't think anybody ever states the facts about urinating on a scrape. So I'm gonna get to that real quick. If you urinate on a scrape, let's say this, it's true facts. Deer do not associate urine as danger. That means coyotes, humans, deer, fox, rabbit, squirrels, it doesn't matter. A deer will not associate urine as danger. And that brings me to my next fact, is all urine smells the same after 24 hours. So if I was to pee in a scrape, which I've done it in the past, and I've had deer come to me, if I was to pee in a scrape, 24 hours later, a deer comes in, doe or a buck, they're gonna think it's another deer, so they're not gonna pay no mind to it. I have had does come up to me 20 minutes after I urinated in a scrape. Never shot a deer using that technique, but I have seen plenty. Actually, just a few weeks ago when the rut first kicked off, I urinated in a scrape, and 20 minutes later, I got settled back in the blind, and a doe and a spike came up and started sniffing it and doing their thing. So, I believe urine does not play a big role. If I was urinating in the scrape, deer don't pay no mind to it. Like I said, they don't associate urine as danger, and urine smells the same after 24 hours. And that's another thing. If you think about it, you should know they don't associate urine as danger, because deer will actually smell for fox. They'll smell fox urine and go down the trail as fox do. When a fox makes a trail, they're well known for making trails that don't attract predators. So a fox will urinate on his trail throughout the trail, maybe not the whole time he's walking, but throughout the trail he'll urinate in some spots to mark his trail. And a deer know fox are well known for going where predators are not located. So a deer will basically turn a fox trail into a deer trail because they feel more safe. They know a fox has been here. They're like, all right, there's no predators. It's safe to go. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about mock scrapes. I have a mock scrape down there about, I don't know, probably 20, 30 yards from where I'm standing right now. And that mock scrape seemed like it was doing good there for a while. We had a few, not a lot, probably within 3 days of putting it out, we had a few deer coming up to it, and I thought it was going to be real good because it's the rut right now, and not even 3 days of it being out, deer started coming up to it. But then coyotes found it, and I want to talk about this. Coyotes will use scrapes just as a deer. A deer, they make scrapes to scent check for does, maybe scent check for bucks or other deer. And if a coyote's walking down here, if he's walking down this trail and he sees a scrape, he's gonna scent check for it. He's gonna see if there's any deer been here. He's gonna follow the trail. He's gonna try to find a deer so he can kill, he can eat, do what he gotta do. To be honest, there's a trail. There's another scrape right there, and I can show you that in a minute. That was doing good. I don't have a camera right here because I got a camera about 30 yards that way, and there's really no trail coming in right here, so I feel like whatever's making these scrapes is going to pop up on one of them cameras. But whatever was making the scrape was doing it pretty often. He was in here, every time I came out there was new tracks, and now there's a big fresh pile of coyote crap in the middle of the scrape that I noticed yesterday that wasn't. I came out here hunting yesterday and I seen coyote crap in it that wasn't there the day before. So coyotes will scent check scrapes just as deer will, and that's what happened to my mock scrape. Coyotes found my mock scrape, and pretty much every day they're out there at nighttime or early in the morning, scent checking my scrape. And ever since coyotes found it, deer hasn't even showed up in that area. I've had deer show up at the at the other end and down there at the end behind me, but right there where my mock scrape is, there hasn't been no activity at all. And I even have I have a feed pile and everything there. But since coyotes found my mock scrape, there hasn't been no deer activity. So, like I said, deer don't associate urine as danger. But if a coyote was to come up and if a coyote was to urinate in a scrape, it could cause some issues because deer do know coyote's predators, such as that one did. A coyote took a restroom break dead center of the scrape, and this scrape wasn't here a while ago. So I kind of think whatever was using that scrape got ticked off because the coyotes did it. So he knew he knows does travel this trail. He just made a scrape pretty much right beside his old one. A deer's not going to use the scrape if coyotes have used the restroom in it. But they will. Feel free to make another one. And this scrape's actually pretty big, so it could be different. But could be a bigger deer because that one's kind of small. But it was active pretty much, and every day. And like the minute the coyote did his thing, there's a new scrape that pops up. So I kind of think the deer got ticked off and made a new scrape. But I want to talk about artificial scents for scrapes. A lot of people make mock scrapes. Me myself, I make mock scrapes, and you can put scent drippers in them. That's what I have at that one. It's not doing, it's working right now, but it's not going to attract no deer because coyotes found it. But you don't have to have a scent dripper to make a mock scrape. A lot of people they'll basically scrape out an area of dirt, make it look like a scrape, and they might break a limb above it to make it look like a licking branch, and they'll take a bottle of urine, and they'll basically just dump a little bit in there and scrape it. And a lot of times it will attract deer if deer are active in that area. If not, it might take a day or two, and after 24 hours all urine smells the same, so you might want to come back out the next day or maybe next 2 days and put a little more minute in there. But I've actually seen people make mock scrapes with their own urine. People that go hunting almost every day, they go out there and they make a mock scrape, and every day they're out in the woods, they use the restroom right in that scrape. And one of my buddies, I got a buddy that he don't live too far down the street from me, and he actually hunts the property. Well, it was probably the next 3 properties over. He actually hunts, and he shot a nice 8-point at the early this season, making a mock scrape with his own urine. So I do believe in urinating in a scrape if you find one. Artificial scents work good too. I've been using this one a little bit throughout the season. I haven't been making really no mock scrapes with it, but as I walk down, if I see a scrape like this one, I'll just put a little bit more in there. And this scrape, if it becomes active, I might actually move a camera down to it, because like I said, coyotes found my mock scrape. There's no activity. That camera has had 0 videos for the past maybe 4 weeks. So there's no activity, not even squirrels, not even raccoons. Nothing's even coming to the feeding corn. You would think at least a raccoon or 2 will come to that feeding corn. Nothing's even coming there. So I might take that camera and move it somewhere close to the scrape if I see that it's becoming, if it gets active. I came hunting yesterday, seen that scrape. It had coyote crap in there, and it wasn't there the day before yesterday. And then this scrape was not here. I come out here today to make this video, and there's a new scrape. So I'm kind of excited. The season could be kicking off pretty good, because excuse me, but there hasn't really been no scrapes or nothing this year. We have seen a lot of deer. They are moving, but I haven't really seen a lot of scrapes this year, and this could be good. It really could be. I'll show you this scrape in a minute, what it looks like. You can tell where they've been scratching But like I said, it happened just last night because it wasn't here yesterday. It had to have happened, you know, last night or this morning. So not a lot of activity going on right now, but I'm hoping to put a little bit of this in here and hopefully kick it off a little bit. So we're gonna do that real quick, and then I'll talk a little bit more and show you what coyotes did to that scrape to spook the deer off. Stuff stinks. But I'm gonna pick up the camera and I'm gonna show you what's going on down here and how this scrape used to be really good. This scrape, to me, it looked like it was active pretty decent amount of time, and then coyotes did their thing, and looks like whatever was doing that moved over about 5 inches and made another scrape. So I'm kind of starting to think this is a big deer, whatever's doing it, because this scrape's a decent amount. And if it was a little buck, he'd probably get intimidated by the coyote crap and make a scrape somewhere else. But there's a big scrape here, so I'm gonna show you guys what's going on, and we might talk a little more. Alright, we're standing here at the old scrape. There's a lot of sticks and stuff in it because they haven't been active in it since the coyotes and stuff did their thing. But this is what it was. There's a scrape, and you can see right there is coyote crap. So I doubt, like, there's a few old tracks in there, but like I said, a coyote comes and sense checks for scrapes just like a deer would, and if they do their thing in it, it's basically over. And then this is the new scrape. See how big it is? It's kind of weird because a lot of times they'll make scrapes like underneath a branch, but these two scrapes have no branches hanging over them. And I've seen a lot of scrapes like that this year on the other property I hunt. There's about 1 or 2 scrapes that have no branches over top of them. So it's kind of weird. I haven't really seen a lot of scrapes like that before, but this year they're pretty common. So we're going to talk a little bit more, and I'll let you guys go. Alright guys, so I hope that answered your question about if you should or should not urinate on a scrape. If I was you, I would. Like I said, I know people that's harvested decent deer doing it. I've seen a lot of deer while I've been doing it, and you know, if you're walking down, like, you know, if you see a scrape like this, a real scrape, if you're walking to your stand, you know, feel free to urinate in it, because it's not gonna do no harm. If anything, it's gonna increase your chances. Now that deer could be nocturnal. He might not be coming out in the day. He could be nocturnal, but if he's nocturnal, you know, who knows? It's still gonna help. But I hope the tips that I talked about today, you know, urinate in the scrape if you wish, because it's not going to do you no harm. Deer do not associate with they don't associate danger with urine. All urine smells the same after 24 hours. Deer will use fox trails as safety, as cover, and if you make a mock scrape, watch out for coyotes, because mock scrapes will work, but just like deer, coyotes will scent check for does using deer scrapes. So I just wanted to give you guys a few tips about scrapes in this video today. Hope they help. Comment below if you have more success on your season, and as always, thank you for joining Phenomenal Whitetail.